around. Say hi, Mark. Maybe in the bathroom. And this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark. Better altitude. Welcome back, and happy Sunday. It's a cold one out there for many of us. Um, right now it's snowing. It started snowing last night, middle of the night, maybe like, I don't know, somewhere between 1 and 3 or so. And then got up this morning to feed the cat, and it was like in the 8 o'clock hour, and there was maybe a couple inches of snow out there. Now, since like the noon hour, it's falling like an inch to 2 inches every hour. So at the moment, there's maybe 6 inches of snow on the ground. And then from there, we'll see. It's blizzardy kind of snow, so it's not like the heavy wet snow with the heart attack and the shoveling and whatnot. This is the kind. That's much better. This is the kind where you can almost just sweep it off your porch or sweep it off your car, because it was so cold prior that there's no like wet ice layer underneath. It'll just go, because it was very cold right before it started snowing. It's also about 14 degrees out, so this isn't turning into rain anytime soon, or sleet. Maybe on the other end of it, but no. For right now, everything's grounded. I mean, Sundays are a slow day for a lot of businesses anyway, so. Hey, Foxy. Hey, Mike. So a lot of places aren't really open, you know. So we're laying low. Mark's laying low himself. Anytime the weather changes or there's a big barometric pressure change, it doesn't lay him out flat on his back, but it's noticeable. And I've heard other people say as much if they've had chronic pain or other kinds. So he's taking it easy. And we're just having coffee because I can't find anything in the house that looked respectable to have. There's no snack food, really. I had some fruit. I've done fruit before. I haven't had coffee since we would do coffee talks. And there's a kitty. Where is he? I thought there was a kitty next to me. It's actually a shirt on the floor. But it's about the size of the cat. So, checking in last week while we were here, there was some medical drama that was being resolved in and around her content last week. So part of it had to do with mobility. I would say it's a medical concern if you can't walk. And the only reason is, obviously, look at me. Of course it's hard for me to walk. So the scooter comes into play as far as her getting out and doing transportation. Medical drama, she had a boil on her area. And she was taking care of it, not taking care of it. Go to the ER, do I not go to the ER? Because of the area where her boil was located, she does not want to see a male doctor. I call horse shit. She doesn't want to see any doctor. But if you eliminate half of them, all the better. She wouldn't want someone who was too much of an expert on what she's having a problem with, especially if it was a man. She's let men do more to her for less than a gynecological exam. Jump rope, latte, jump. 6 inches and counting. 6, 7, it'll be coming up. So, there was plans, for her to, she was going to be doing Pilates, and she was going to be taking on Factor, the meal delivery service, which is one of the least that you have to screw with. You just kind of microwave it. And I'll say for Factor, I think we've done videos 1,000 years ago when we had like 900 subscribers or so. There must have been someone out pitching Factor, because we ended up getting a free credit from them. I thought, $50 worth of free stuff. When you buy that kind of happy-dappy organic horse shit, a box this big is $35. So we got way too much food, but they had some really good products. They had a brownie that was made with black beans, brownie batter made with black beans that tastes just like brownie batter, and you can either bake them or eat it raw in the middle of the night at the fridge, like I might. So your midwife was a man. She's ridiculous. I think it's, now I can see if there's certain circumstances where she would want, a woman to be present in the room or whatever. She doesn't want to have to compete with another woman, even if she is the doctor. But this whole, I don't want to go. And if I did go, I don't want to see a man. And if I did see a man, I'd want to see them soon. And since I can't have it exactly, and it's far away is like when you jump. Okay, we were talking about maybe Mark getting an appointment out of town for his health to see a specialist. Now, Philly is the big place to go when you're in this corner. Allentown, Philadelphia, so much. So we had called, and I was like, can I make an appointment for, second opinion, another set of eyes? the hospital, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sure, we're booked into 2027." I'm like, oh. I was like, "Is there a cancellation list?" They're like, "Yeah, on some of our satellite offices, but not at the main office." They could get us in the satellite office with not the specific doctor I wanted, but a professional nonetheless, and I could have it in a week. But if it's not exactly what I want, or it's not going to be helpful, I'm going to put it off. No, she would need a few factor meals. Plus, they had chickpea chocolate chip cookie dough, which was also fantastic. But fat being fat and calories being calories and portions being portions, any of us would lose weight or increase health or whatever if we followed the directions of any diet plan to a T. So whether you're going to cut out carbs or whether you're going to go low-fat vegan or primal or eat tennis balls or whatever anyone will do now, whatever you're doing, if you stick to it, you can lose weight. Any diet will work as long as you can stick to it. People used to say, well, how do you get sober? I'm like, there's a lot of ways people get sober. Your best guesstimate of if what you're doing is right is if you're not drunk or high at the moment. So, aside from the immobility bees that she's finding her way into because she just doesn't want to walk, just kidding. She's not kidding. It's an inconvenience. She's talking about taking it to different rooms within her own small, admittedly small apartment. You know, the downstairs of the villa, I think, was probably the square footage of her whole place. So, oh yes, Foxy with her purchases and her choices. Only the essentials. Crock pot. I don't know, Orca. People said, you know, where could the money be coming from? Where might it be coming from? There's no knowing if Chantal has, you know, ongoing relationships, friendship, or otherwise going on with people off camera and would like to help. There's people that want to help out her channel, and then there's people that want to help out her. So people concerned with Chantal as a person will send, you know, however amount of money. The other people will just put it in the chat just to get a rise out of her. She has been living on Kick and only popping onto YouTube to just keep the line open, I think, pretty much. $30, yeah. The lip plumper, absolutely essential. Can't live without it. She's either trolling or unbelievably naive. I mean, it's not a surprise that she would, you know, have tax issues, have other financial issues. I probably scored like a C+ on handling that kind of shit. So late but happy to be here. Fingers crossed we're closed tomorrow. Don't get a lot. Hey, Veronica, Veronica. There's another word that rhymes with it. Thank you for the super chat. I think work will be closed. I think work will be closed. At least it'll be work from home. You know, so we'll see. I don't work from home as much because certain times a year there's just only so much I can do in-house in the office. Next week coming up, I had a lot of traveling to do. Tuesday, Wednesday, I think Thursday I was going to be out on the road. So the roads need to be clear for me to do that. So good morning, Seafood. How are you doing? Well, yeah, spending money that Chantal's spending money she doesn't have is kind of one of her hallmarks. It's a quirky little thing she does. Just puts her toe on the line of poverty. She buys stuff because I think she's not buying edibles. Buying stuff will trigger some people to happy place. Mark's a big shopper to the point, you know, he gets physically excited. The adrenaline starts going, even if we're just going to Dollar Tree, and as soon as, you know, the eyes start to light up. Chantal orders things online in the moment because she lives in the moment in a not so great way and say, I ordered a Jazzy. Now I'm going to make videos for it. It's going to be perfect. She's going to sell the people who are going to pay for it on the promise of content. Once I get this expensive thing that I can only buy with your help. So she buys the thing, gets sick of it after 2 days, and is going to hang her clothes on it. She's a big kid when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's a very big deal when it's, you know, her money, but your money she'll spend left, right, and center. You know, this is a job. She's an entertainer. I don't remember going to comedy shows where it was, you know, free to get in, no big deal, but everyone has to line up and give the guy $5 on his way out the door. She buys a lot of crap. It's crap she won't use. Like, she probably wants one crock pot recipe, and she'll get sick of doing it halfway through that. She could get one secondhand. She doesn't need new everything. You don't need new everything if you're going to rebuild your life in a new place. Like, it would behoove her to, like, find a spot on the globe where she can have nice things and leave them, so then if she moves again, there's somewhere she can get. She buys a new cat every time she moves. I need this, I need that. She really probably didn't need all that stuff from scratch, but I mean, that's how she wants to, like, oh, that crock pot will be moldy. Moldy. She'll take out the insert, throw it in the fridge. Oh, I'm letting it rest. And then the next time her mom and her aunt come to visit, they'll clean again. Because they don't want to, that's a perfect metaphor for Chantal's life. She's sitting around in a mess she created, and her aunt and her mother come over to clean it up for her. And then when they leave, she decides that it's, I don't know, love your reactions, wishing you well. Thank you very much. Thank you. Pixie. Remember, for 6 months? 6 months, that's about as long as we've had them, too. It will be the new Blue Pod. It will be full of crap. It's not so much, Chantal can waste her own money on foodstuffs, whatever, but why would she drop what she knows is too much money on some fast food that, you know, it's healthy fast food, but she'll eat more than one in a sitting because the portions are on the smaller side. And they're not low-calorie foods that they produce. They're, you know, vegan, kosher, keto-friendly, all this and all that. So there's different goals. So these aren't low-fat foods. These aren't low-calorie foods. They're just higher quality, by their measure, when done in portion size. Now, in my head, as soon as something that's mildly healthy tastes good, I eat the whole bag. I eat the whole bowl. I eat the whole carton. Because my old 1990s impulse is, hey, if it's fat-free, you can eat it endlessly. That was the whole Susan Powter era of things, when the food pyramid had 6 to 11 servings of carbs as the recommended base serving, and then work your way up to the top. I would say she's maybe doing requests. It wouldn't surprise me, we'll say, if she was. I'm sure it's happened over the years where someone sent her on the slide a message and said, hey, would you do that for da-da-da? It's not unheard of. People do it. The sanctimony with which she lives would kind of run against that, because it would kind of fulfill a narrative of you're nothing but a train wreck and a mess, and the most money you can make is making the biggest, most pathetic fool of yourself. If you're really emotionally detached from YouTube and you treat it like a job and you do food shows or eating or long mukbangs or whatever, there's an audience for almost anything out there. But she'll stick with food content even if it doesn't really sell, because it's a reason to eat. You know, she's been to the doctor numerous times she acts like it's a big mystery. Like, I have to go to the doctor for my blood pressure. You have to go to the doctor because you're fucking 400 pounds. Everything needs to be checked out. 9 a.m. made the coffee and caught alive. Hello. How's the weather where you are? At least I'm not bitter. So, along with this immobility and this endless amount of shopping that she's doing, she's saying that Sala was helping with the month's bills. What was he buying? The cat food? And that's it. Like, he's in a different place in his life, geographically, emotionally. He's got a lot going on. And then Chantal's over here. She's got nothing going on. So she's got all the time in the world to be focused, hyper-focused on whatever Sala's doing. Whether they're together or not together, it's all going to stay off camera. It doesn't make any fucking money if it stays off camera. A little, people talking and questioning gets her name out there, but when some of the lies are so obvious, you don't even toss it around as if it might be true. Never going to the dentist. She's never going to a doctor again. Her logic is, I should never go to the doctor because they always find something wrong. Well, it's because when you go to the doctor, usually there's something wrong. She likes the urgency of an emergency. So she's not interested in going outpatient to see a doctor. Ladies, I'm going to bring you all in for a discussion. Anybody else who doesn't want to participate, fine. I'm just going to speak in coded language. But how long would one put off having a boil in said area where Chantal was saying she's having hers? How long would it have to be let go? And is it, what's... Okay. You can relate to Mark's pain with other... Oh, totally, Cassie. Totally. He's like hobbling around. God love me. Tries to be in a good mood. So not to drag with it, but today's not a put on your happy face kind of day. Not for him. So she could afford a lot. She could have easily, for the cost of a crock pot or 1/3 the cost of a scooter, she could go get the, taken care of. She can go get the cat taken care of. Now she has for the cat what she has for herself. Some appointment coming up. I don't remember the day exactly. I wrote it down. No, you didn't. It didn't happen. She's going to want to have a virtual vet as well. Like, there's some things you can do like this, but even services I've had that were remote. I've never had a remote, test for prostate cancer or anything like that. And how do you even go about doing that? Do they mail you something in that you do your own exam and then mail it back and they tell you? I don't know. I'm okay with psychiatric. I have a psychiatric diagnosis, a few. And during COVID, we had started doing face-to-faces. We would do them. My insurance only requires it once a year. And the rest of the time, I just talk to the PA, and it's usually maybe every 6 weeks or every 4 weeks if there's an issue. Now, even that, something is lost, because if I'm sitting talking, having therapy, I run out of shit to talk about in about 10 minutes. But if I'm in the office, I could go for an hour. Easy for an hour. So I could see that. And when I talk to my doctor and we're just having checks, they still miss things. They still don't have my weight, which is something they track because a few of the meds I take can make you lose a bunch of weight or gain a bunch of weight or yo-yo. So I have that to go into. I have to regularly go into the doctor's office so they can lay eyes on me. I think there's probably some fields of medicine that are very good for telehealth, but I don't know for a physical problem, how she would address that. How would she say, doctor, here's where it hurts? Not that someone who's 125 pounds could do the same thing. It's not because of the difficulty with which she will have to buttress the layers for someone to get down there with a spelunkin and try to, find out what's going on down there. She does have hormonal stuff. Lately, they've been talking about hormonal this and hormonal that. She had a hysterectomy years ago. She didn't have too much emotionally really tied to it. So, can't afford dental or pet care. Nope. Well, now the discussion is not that she can't afford the pet care. It's just that it's next month is all. If she'll cancel an appointment for herself, of course she'll cancel it for the cat. Something in her own best interest, like seeing a doctor, she doesn't find a necessary waste of energy. She can be putting her energy somewhere else. Now, she's stored it like a fucking car battery, a 400-pound car battery. So she's wound up and has all the fuel and energy stuck to every part of her body to do more than ride a scooter back and forth. There's one thing about understanding limitations. It's another to get out ahead of them. You know what? I'm probably going to end up in a wheelchair one of these days. Rather than try to get my A1C down, I think I'm just going to, highway to hell, live hard, die young. Roll over anyone who's in my way. That's Chantal though, and that's not about that specific issue, but she kind of applies that logic. The downstairs neighbors, she's up all night screaming. It's the same bullshit. She's in Kuwait, it was the neighbors. In there, it was the family. And now it's the neighbors again. The neighbors might sleep. They're not up at 3 a.m. trying to impress strangers abroad to see if they'll, Chantal never goes online for any, really good reason. She's on Kick primarily now and doesn't like the other places that won't do it. TikTok, she's about dropped off the face of the earth. Remember the battles and all of that? Well, she thinks she got Salva to say that he was jealous about it. So, to him, she won't do any of them, not with a man, not with a woman. Again, the big over-the-top show of devotion. He probably doesn't give a shit. He's probably curious, but... The dangers of I think she also let a person into an apartment building, which you're not supposed to do. Everything has a key fob now for apartment living and high-rise living that you can't even... We went to a hotel over Thanksgiving, and to get to your specific floor, you had to tap in the elevator and then tap to your room. So there were a lot of safety things kind of in place, but... So as far as the scooter, she did take the scooter out, as we talked about last time. No shirt, no shoes, no service. And she just rolled right where she wanted. The doctor for her area, I don't understand how she's going to see. How is talking to a woman better than being examined by a man? And who are you to assume that because he's a man, he's obsessed with that certain area? What if I was your gynecologist? Would that be okay? I'm sure every doctor she sees mentions her weight, and she's probably sick of hearing about it because it's been that way for 20 years. no good doctor would leave out the fact that she's 200 pounds overweight as part of any assessment. She's more prone to some stuff. A lot of the things that she has could be resolved with some weight loss. Like she could reverse a little bit of damage on some of the physical health things that she's done by just giving her body a time to rest. But her, it's like she's going to do it in her time, but in cat years. She's like, I need a year to get myself together. That means 7. That means it's further along. Which means if you count her YouTube birthday as that, she'd be a middle-aged cat. She's still not doing much. I was saying the boils would be dermatology, wouldn't it? If it gets past a certain point, it becomes an issue for another doctor. But when they didn't send me to like a urologist or anything when I had to have some work done that was close to my groin. Like unless it was actually in that area, you wouldn't need a specialist for anything other than just dermatology. And the fact that she can, pack it at home and take care of her stuff at home is good, but it's also another reason to have somebody come over. I would be, Chantal would be, I'm projecting, would be the kind of person who would just deliberately leave their house messy because they have an aide that comes in a couple times a week. The aide's job is usually not to clean the person's house, it's to make sure that they can eat and shower and have food, and if they need their meds or anything like that, but I think she would treat any programs that offer assistance, like if she had a case manager through a mental health agency, she would treat them like a secretary. And she would treat everybody like they're doing her a favor. She treats everyone as though I'm paid to be here or you're not welcome here. So the entitlement of presence kind of goes. When she's in the ER, she's looking around. And then when she's sick of waiting, she's like, oh, I have chest pain. That's one of the fastest ways to cut the line. You know what? But I'll give Chantal this. I feel more comfortable with some topics and some areas having a woman than a man, but I would not refuse care. If my desires and wishes could be met, I'd like them to. If they said, well, fine, you can see a female doctor, but you have to go tomorrow, she won't go. It's too short of notice. She's got to mentally prepare for what story the doctor's going to get. So as much as she complains about the system, when things like people canceling at the last minute could get you in there, she's not a last minute kind of person when it comes to that. So, So a health arc, there will be no health arc as long as there's a scooter. Because anywhere she's scooting, she could walk. So that's that. And not for nothing with the scooter. Stay out of the road. Don't drive head on into 18-wheelers coming and then giggle as if we're all going to have a nice joke about this when she's pinned between a rig and a guardrail. I don't think she'll think it's very funny. But I could see her having an open wound only if someone else is coming in to care for it. Like maybe when Smee and the aunt came over, they helped her with it. They cleaned her apartment. They'll hit the reset button for her, so she doesn't have to try to start over. They come in and just give it the look of freshness and starting over. It doesn't look like you're coping well when you moved into a new place and after 6 weeks there's just boxes and half-assembled things and impulse purchases. I'm gonna get a scooter. Not really use the scooter. I don't even like the scooter I got. I don't know. But yeah, to further say that, she wants to see a woman's doctor, where she has the boil isn't exactly a woman's health issue. By proximity, maybe, but not like when I had to go, I think I had mentioned I had a pilonidal cyst. It was 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. And the pain relief was incredible once it was taken care of. But it's not sometimes it's related to your hygiene. Sometimes it's related to just ingrown hairs because it's a place where stuff rubs all the time. But I didn't have to go see a specialist like a urologist or anything just because it was closer to my area. That doesn't make it suddenly that doctor's kind of issue. So, and I hate anytime they being admitted to the hospital for that kind of thing sucks, because I was sitting there. Mark was keeping you guys in track. It was a couple years ago during the summer, and it was very uncomfortable. No one likes hospitals, and it was weird because I've never been in a hospital prior to that where it wasn't my fault, where it wasn't either for alcohol abuse, drug abuse. She might run us over. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, be careful. She'll run you right down. She's going to have to get little chains for the little tires. Now, it's an act of God that this scooter that she's taken out and been around and come back with has not died yet, either the battery or anything. So it's possible it's not a bad $600 purchase for someone who just needs to get off their feet. Not someone who needs to get off their feet and have a motor push it. You know, you can't blame a lion for not being a tiger. You can't get yourself into a scooter and expect, you know, a high grade bariatric, put the feet up, like, I don't know. And it's because of a dislike of the discomfort of walking. She's doubled back down to, well, she doesn't want to walk because it hurts, but it hurts to walk because she doesn't walk much. So she would say she's screwed right there. The way out of that is that you have to walk anyway, even though it's uncomfortable or painful. I think Chantal thinks that if her feet hurt, something's wrong with them and she should stay off of them. Nobody usually is in bed rest until they lose, you know, the weight that they need to lose. It's usually about motion and about change. I was watching old infomercials, Deal a Meal. We're in that age range here, Richard Simmons, Deal a Meal. So, like I said, food and everything and what was thought to be healthy and not healthy is a totally different thing from what it used to be. I was fat around the same time Chantal would have been because she's been big the whole time. And it's a way to kind of, I don't know. I get the feeling she was like the flighty fat girl. You know, she kind of made fun of herself before anybody else could, and then she pulled off some mean girl shit so people still feared her. Oh, Deal a Meal was so good. I was watching it, but it's such a different time period. It's such a different way about thinking about weight loss and stuff. So I loved Richard. Richard Simmons, Mr. Rogers, the guy who painted and from Reading Rainbow. Those were the images of men that I thought were important to me growing up. Not that I didn't watch wrestling, but Hulk Hogan was an unapologetic racist and a complete bastard. He won a lot, but one doesn't get rid of the other. So I do miss the KFG arc when she was just going in and getting chicken fingers and slices of potato and trying to look at the camera. She never tried to say in Syria, I have it better than you. She tried to say, like, my life isn't so bad. It's business as usual, I think, for probably Saleh and his family. As far as them getting ready to go back to their family home and move on with their life. She even let us know that Saleh's doing so well, he's not only sending her money to help with the bills, but he opened a storefront on the compound where he's going to be selling perfume? What did somebody say? Olives, maybe, from the orchard? Steal a Meal. Yeah, and this Deal a Meal is entirely around portions. You know, one portion of fat, you know, when you get it in the store now, it says that 1 tablespoon is a serving. But on the weight loss program, it would be diet margarine. Margarine, I haven't had margarine since 1989, probably. And how to keep track of it. So the Deal Meal was only, you only get so much to eat. It's about half. It starts on 1,000 calories, and then depending on the size of the person, they bump up. So if she was going to start Deal a Meal, she would start at 2,000 calories, maybe 1,800 calories a day, until she got below 250. Then maybe you would talk about some more serious dieting, because she doesn't have to give up a whole lot to see a fair amount of results right away. I imagine you could wring her out with the amount of fluid she's holding, plus solid waste. Plus, you're not putting more back into it. She could lose an appreciable amount of actual weight, not just water, waste, and muscle, in 4 to 6 weeks. So it's not wishful thinking. Bigger people than her have lost weight, gone on with their lives, done something more. You know, do you think if Chantal had a beautiful, thick head of hair, she'd be in a hijab right now? I don't. I think it's double purpose. Double entendre, if my French is awful. Yes, it looks like it's a religious thing, and it gives her an excuse to, you know, cosplay the religious stuff too. But I don't know. I mean, I could get a yarmulke instead of Rogaine, I guess, to cover my bald spot. And how dare you question my faith? Well, it's awfully convenient your faith covers the part of your body you're the most self-conscious about. Chantal likes her face, and she's not an unattractive person, but she frames it for everybody else. You see this much of her. It's easy for you to make fun of my looks. We can't. You've been draped, and it comes up to here. So, no worse than her French. Ugh. A new guy will. Well, a new lover of her. Someone who likes her. Someone who loves her just the way she is. Someone that's nothing like Sala. He don't care. These big acts of devotion, these movie moments, this right before the movie ends, the girl gets the guy. She wrote it before she even lifted off from Canada. She had written how this was supposed to go. He was supposed to fall in love with her, Sala. He was supposed to fall in love with her, and what thought to be kind of in a romantic comedy sort of way, he inadvertently falls in love with her and decides he's going to forget his family, whatever they think about her color or size or whatever, because they're in love and they're going to go live on love and no one's going to stop him. Sala's not that kind of guy, and she's not that kind of girl either. She's good at manipulating. Usually there's a modicum of intelligence that goes with that, but she's good at manipulating, or she picks good marks, finds the right audience, or finds just the right thing to say. Chantal's good at finding just the right weakness, going just a little too far, and then says, I'm kidding, and pulls it back. So, she did offer to do Pilates. If anyone's familiar with Pilates, you know what it looks like. So she said, for X number of subs, I will do Pilates. So she's now a legitimate dancing bear. Like, that should be the new channel. Just throw money at her. What do you want to see her do? You want me to dance? You want me to bend over? You want me to eat? You want me to rip ass? You want me to walk around? You want to see my body? None of these are like skills, mind you. She's not showing off a talent. She's just showing off what it looks like to be a person of her size. It's the most distinctive, whatever the word is, characteristic of hers. It's one of the first things people notice. It's like, oh, first you notice it's a woman. Because Chantal's not super androgynous. Sometimes with the hijab on, it was giving Uncle Fester meets Earthworm Jim vibes. Just saying. She swings down. Look, when you're going to give like any kind of ribbing or rants or things like that, usually it's people in positions of power that you are, coming at, punching up like a comedian was. You don't punch down. You don't find people in worse circumstances and make jokes about how bad their life is. You wonder why it's mom, the marriage scammer, and the aunt, and nobody else. So, as she's been on Kick, she's going on live up to 8 hours a day. There's very little of her content that is for that. If any of you guys keep up with they're not reaction channels exactly, they condense it. I'm thinking like Barbecue Chillin' or, not Sansa. I love Sansa, but not Sansa. Just saying. So they've crunched down all this time into something watchable, getting rid of all her heavy, deep breaths and all her sidebars about dumb stuff and for the cat to come over. Clip channels, exactly. And they save a lot of us. They save a lot of us a lot of time. So, Ramadan's coming up. So she wanted to let everyone know that she's going to be getting ready for Ramadan. And she's never done it. She has a doctor's note. So anytime she decides she wants to do something out of the scope of fasting, she can say, well, I still get the credit for fasting, but I can't really do it because I have a doctor's note. What if it's a male doctor whose note you need? You're not gonna go? I don't think she gives a F with a... Anyway. So she's treating Ramadan, or will be, kind of like it's a challenge of some sort, like a weight loss challenge, I guess. She's totally not doing this for herself. She says it's to improve her relationship with Allah. She worships herself. Everything she does is in worship and praise of her. I don't know. She's doing it. All of these are, hey, Sala, you paying attention? Guess what? I ate less. Guess what? I cooked from home. Trying to get his attention, whipping things past him. And he's like, I don't know. Even if he says, yeah, good job. To her, that means we're back. We're back together. The reason there's all this push and pull with her relationship with Sala is probably not because the relationship is so dramatic, but she needs drama to feel alive. And apparently that goes with her romantic relationships too. So, Sala, pick me, I'm the one, I want to be your bottom bitch. Yeah, she always had the doctor's note for Ramadan. Guys, I have to eat during the day. She already knows she can get out of doing it, so promising it is no big commitment, because she'll has her get out of life free card, which anything you expect her to do. I can't do that. I'm sick. I can barely walk. I can barely walk with no context is misleading. Saying I don't want to walk, so I'm going to be in this wheelchair is different than saying I can't walk. Saying it's uncomfortable means you still can do it, it just hurts. Well, that's how that works, is you do it till it doesn't hurt anymore. You know, she'd be surprised, I think, how fast she wouldn't lose a shit ton of weight in a month, but her fitness would increase by a whole hell of a lot without a whole lot much, just because of where she's starting from, I think. She just wants to bees. She just wants to live her life. This is just entertainment, guys. I don't know why you take it so seriously. Gaslight. Where are we at? Oh, over half an hour. Vape break. So yeah, preparing for Ramadan is more about preparing what she's going to eat at the end of every day. Because if no one's looking, it's not wrong if no one's looking. So if no one sees what she had for dinner, then you can't say with certainty that she didn't have something that she was allowed to eat. So until you can prove otherwise, and she leaves a lot of evidence, just because I bought it doesn't mean it's for me. That shit with the candy bars and salad doesn't work anymore, honey. You live alone with periodic guests who come over and assemble things and clean for you. She doesn't need a maid service that other people pay for where they live. She needs mommy rescue, mommy family rescue. I'm going through such a hard time. While you're here, could you clean? Or she just kind of makes an entire mess of her life till other people come to sweep it up. You know, I mean, if that's the way it's always been with her and her family, then it'll probably continue. If they're going to keep rescuing her ass and coming over at 41, they'll do it till they're dead. You know, at this point, they're already in too deep. She's not, like, gaslighting is her main form of communication, which is unfortunate because you never get, like, real friends or have real relationships with people. If everything is a matter of what can I make you believe, what do you think about me, how can I manage what you think about me, how can I use you in another relationship? So, oops, 1 second. Mom, I'm online. I can't pick up the phone. Parents came to visit yesterday because we're having all this wicked snow today. I'll call you back in a little bit, okay? We're maybe 20 minutes tops. So, yeah, of course my sugar's high. I have diabetes. Of course I'm overweight. But I don't have any kids. I can't vouch for. I know some people. I love my kid. My kid is my kid. I would do anything for them. It doesn't matter what they do. They're an angel in my eyes. Blah blah blah. And some parents are just like that. And other parents are like, you know what? You're grown. We're here for you, but we're not your parents anymore. You know, the relationship is different. Mom's gonna come over and clean up my apartment. Not mom's gonna come over and we're gonna do it together, or they're gonna come over and help me clean my apartment and motivate me. This isn't about messy apartments. This is about Chantal makes a mess and other people have to come clean it up. And other people have to try to smooth it over. And they do. The suckers in her life will. You know, love makes some people suckers. You know, I'm sure I had enablers in the mix when I was doing that, but oh, no spend days too. I forgot about that. Excuse me. Going back to Ramadan, she's going to do no day spend challenge. So how many of the things that Salah wants in a woman can she horseshoe into one video? How many things that she thinks would win him back can she horseshoe? Remember the most cringy, reaching thing that I ever saw Chantal do? She was driving over to get her CPAP. She was driving down the frozen road. This was during the Nader arc. And she was driving to his house, I'm guessing not invited, and she turns the music on in her car, and immediately it's one of Nader's favorite songs. And she treats that like an omen, like, oh my god, I love this song! I can't believe this came on! like over the top liking it because she knows it was a song he likes. So she'll throw out things like that, and it's like, oh, honey, you don't really like this music. I know you don't. If you can't prove that I don't like it. So this discussion of her video kind of went the way of the horse and buggy. The one that people thought Natter sent because it was the back of the head of a person with poor hair growth in the rear, and people thought, well, obviously, how many people who have bad hair growth, thin hairlines, and slept with Natter, how many could there be? You know, and they looked into it, and Dee Dee has tattoos, it wasn't her, but that kind of came and went, because people aren't usually very surprised by Chantal's behavior. Disgusted, appalled, but surprised? Only a fool would be surprised. After this many years, I feel like I should have a gar. After this many years of following her, I'm telling you. So she did her last showing off minimalist Amazon order. So she made the commitment to not buy any stupid crap like a day ago, but all the other crap she ordered still has to come. So she did get some stuff from Amazon, and the stuff she got from Amazon was just usual house shit. Nothing crazy. She got a crock pot. Who needs a crock pot? If you can turn a Dutch oven or a pan on low, you can probably skip the crock pot. I understand wanting to do 5 minutes of work so you can 8 hours later eat something. I like crock pots too. But remember, like, moving in with Sala, the air fryer. I thought the air fryer was the new single-use appliance that, you know. I love my crock pot. We have an Instant Pot, so essentially we have two. They're great if you gotta feed a crowd, if you have a busy lifestyle and you only have a few minutes here and there to do it, that's fine. But she's none of those things. She has time to sit there and stare at it and not miss anything. I'd meet her halfway. A lot of us have crock pots, but the juicer? She doesn't drink juice. The juice is another thing to fire past Sala. Look how healthy I'm being. And with the crock pot, look how frugal I'm being. When she put together that factor costs more than 3 months' rent in Syria, she's like, oh yeah, I canceled that. She wants the excitement, like, of the people in the chat that like her and pay for things, to be excited in that moment with her. She has all the excitement of having been doing it for 6 months. I'm losing weight, things are healthy, we're in motion. She's talking about a plan, not about things that actually happened. And when she documents a little bit of the plan for people, and they say, not for nothing, but you have one dead limb and thyroid eyes. And now that the filters on Kick don't catch what the filters did, TikTok was the worst with the filter. She looked like Terminator 2, Judgment Day. You know, is it the T-1000, the one that turned to liquid metal? It was closer to that. Closer to that. Again, TikTok, even though she looked the most cartoonish there, she was doing the battles back and forth, and she must have either caught wind that Sala was sort of jealous. She assumed he was jealous. But territorial, right? Yeah. Territorial and committed are two different things. Saying, he's my man, don't talk to him, versus, I love my man, I know he wouldn't talk to anyone other than me. There's no trust there. You know, she wants us to believe everything she says, and then she's surprised that other people lie, that Sala would lie, that Natter would lie. She lies every moment of the day. She thinks her reasons for lying are good, though. I have to lie to you guys, otherwise I'd have no private life. So she gets all the, come here, I got a secret for you, and then when everyone shows up to hear it, I can't tell you that, that's personal. You're a lifestyle channel. We're going to walk in circles. I tell you guys, once I get the scooter, once I'm back in Canada, once I'm over here, once I lose some weight, if you start any goal with once I lose some weight, you've lost the goal because you've put the goal in front of it. You know, the thing that's getting in your way is the way. I think I read that in I don't know, somebody's post somewhere on Facebook that sounded insightful. I don't know. And Chantal is easily seduced by man-children. You know, Natter on camera was a very, very different person than Sala. And it's not uncommon, I think, for people to leave one relationship and in the next relationship they find someone who's quite different. Not exactly, you know, quite like them. If I had to choose, me Steve, I would probably take Sala over Natter. Just saying. There's a lot of evidence that Chantal has produced that he's not a high-quality person. Apparently enough to sleep with periodically, but otherwise not to her standards. Chantal's incredibly high standards of behavior. The problem is her freedoms to do what she wants, talk to who she wants, lie if she wants to. That's different. That's her. That's not something another person should be engaging in when they're with her. It doesn't matter if she does it. That's not the point. So, no more TikToks. She says, quote, she can barely walk. She's not prepping to get more mobile. She's prepping for immobility. She has a couch with no bones. You just throw yourself on it. The bed's close to the floor because I don't think she could get out. And I'm surprised she can get up from the bed. Of course, if you've seen her put her socks on, then you know she'll push herself pretty hard for some dumb stuff. So, yeah, it's her money. You know, when she makes money, it's her money. But when he makes money, it's their money. Even though she makes, I'm sure, a damn sight more than him. You know how much life-changing resources she could provide to someone in his situation versus, you don't know how much I gave. You don't know what... She lives in the benefit of the doubt. The teenage bedroom. Yeah. Check the drawers. There might be KFC. She's living high in life now. It doesn't have to be KFG. Now that she can get the proper stuff, she can fill her drawers with it. She dirties the place really quick. Like, even when we stay in hotels, we have the paper bags for if we got groceries or whatever, because even though there's a cleaning person that comes in, sometimes we have more shit than that little basket will hold. She wouldn't give that courtesy to people who she's not, it's not a priority for her. She had 8 hours to sit and talk about herself, but no time to sweep, no time to pick up a box or two. You know, on the one hand, you can't say, I'm an independent person, I live my own life, I have no problem with the basics. And on the other say, I needed 2 adults to come over to clean my house because I needed either them to motivate me or do it for me. Either way, it puts it on the radar that cleaning, she's 41, and she can't, if you're 41 and can't clean without your parents' help, then what's making that happen? What's stopping that from happening? Is it disability? She sure hopes people think so. So her to be able to say, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. My rib, my rib, my rib. She kept forgetting, doing all this dumb clicky shit and Pilates. Oh, I forgot I hurt my rib. So she had to weasel that way back in because that story doesn't line up with a story of laying on the floor and agreeing to do some Pilates to get some subscribers. If somebody sends in 5 more, I'll do this. She's dancing bear. Dancing bear. Speaking of important things that got thrown to the wayside, this goes into the doctor. She canceled her second doctor's appointment. They gave her one, she said no. They gave her another one, she said no. Now, if I was in a position where surgical intervention, medical intervention, any of that, could I get past it if I thought this doctor, though male, may have some insight into how to help me? It's just another excuse. I mean, I would prefer either or. I don't really care. I care more about the level of certification. Like if it's a registered, like an RN or even an LPN, yeah, I don't care if it's a guy or whatever, because I figure they've seen everything. But if it's going to be like some orderly or technician, then I'd prefer a guy than a woman, honestly. If I was a woman, I could request a woman, so a guy could request a guy. But the bigger part of it is canceling an appointment that I need, something I need help with. How do you explain to yourself, well, I had to stand on my ground by not seeing a doctor I was uncomfortable with. What doctor are we comfortable with? Because they should be first. If it's the GP, no. She was waiting for the GP. They gave her one that's too far away. If you want to cut the line, you have to make some allowances too, like transportation. None of this was news coming back. You know, the things that she needs, she won't get to. You're going to have to rent her another car. You guys listening? Mama needs a new car. Otherwise, I'll just have to take that scooter and drive recklessly down the wrong side of the street in the snow. I don't think I've been to too many doctors that were bad, and I don't think their gender had much to do with it. I can feel her with comfort level, but there are certain positions that you're in medically that can feel embarrassing. Like if someone wants to check below the belt anywhere, whether you're male or female. It kind of doesn't sit so well with everybody. But if I thought there was an escalating problem, I would probably weigh my desire to not have a male doctor versus being able to be seen more quickly so that this problem, which could be serious or not, is getting addressed. I'll take that answer from anyone of any gender. If you still have time to be picky, then you're not that much pain, probably. You know, she barely did the looking to find a male doctor. She could probably tell them. People are pretty sensitive. A lot of doctors and nurses in medical places are very sensitive, especially if it's anything sort of delicate in the areas that you want to see, that you're comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, what do you need to be comfortable? Would you feel good if Smee was in the waiting room when you went? Would you feel better if there was a nurse in the room or another female of some sort? Those are kind of reasonable requests. But she didn't try to look for reasonable arrangements for that. She just said no and wants a virtual doctor. How are you going to show the virtual doctor? You know, we all got a view the other day of where the issues are. She dropped her phone between her crotch and was driving. I think Kik has an issue with sleeping on stream. I wonder if they have one for, you know, she's not really doing anything. I mean, good she's not driving with the camera on, but she's got it down beneath her and it's filming there. Now, of course, we're all a bunch of perverts, and she has no problem getting a man, and pictures like this prove it. She's at the age now that even if she lost so much of her weight's in her belly, that if she lost weight, even at the weight she is now, her stomach comes just about to her knees on one side. If she lost all that weight, she's going to need radical skin surgery. She better be back on YouTube making 25 grand a month. If she has this idea in her head that she's just going to eat a little bit less for a few days and the weight will fall off, when you get the nuts and bolts of weight loss down and you get into a routine of, okay, this is how the day starts, this is my breakfast of some sort, this is my activity for today, here's my water, all that other stuff. It's not a lot of complicated things. I mean, the first thing I would just tell her to do is, like, every time you wake up, whether it's a 4-hour or 8-hour nap, first thing you do before anything else hits your lips, drink a glass of water. The whole glass, not a few sips, and then take a swig of a soda. Any little doable change, me, Steve, my opinion, is better than setting a really far one, even if you've planned the steps, because the first step is usually the hardest. You know, you can't get to the top. You have to work your way up. You can't cut the line to character. You have to have lived some experiences, learned from some experiences, lived, loved, all that kind of good stuff, you know, to know it yourself. Funny girl, hello. Yeah, a few minutes, we'll be out of here. Let me check my notes, make sure we didn't miss too much of anything. Pilates for pay? No. It was a little bovine. I mean, she was on all fours and she was sweating like mad. And good. That's the jig of it. And yeah, if all you can do is 5 minutes today, that's great. And even if you did 5 minutes every other day for a week, it's a start. It's something that's more like a routine, even if it's just a little thing, you know, something like a routine. Oh God, be good, Mr. I always worry about, especially men, heart attacks in the snow, that kind of thing. So be careful. She was trying to brag on herself for her breakfast, so we're still, whatever she's doing, whenever she says sounds like something responsible or a bit of self-care, she's saying it so Sala will hear it. You don't get a mobility scooter from a chat by telling them you get around just fine. You got to lay it on a little thick. I can't and I won't, and I don't want to, are questions that really kind of separate Chantal from what's the kind of life she wants to have and the kind of life she has now. But like so many of us, she's in her own way. You know, and some of us get out of our way and some of us don't. And some of us do it for a while and then stop and go back. But if you could give her 10 minutes of what it feels like to not feel your stomach on your lap or not be worried about what you look like, so you have more things to wear than abayas and hijabs. You want to choose modesty, that's fine, but don't confuse modesty with hiding. The modesty is a mark of your character. The hiding is a mark of your fears and insecurities. Lady Gaga said one time with costuming, and I don't need to say she's wearing a costume, but if you're not practicing a religion and you're wearing it, what else is it? you know. But Lady Gaga said something really interesting about costuming. It gives you a chance to not only express yourself, but conceal yourself at the same time. So while Chantal is showing Muslim Mare in still photo, you might go, oh, well, she looks like someone who's faithful. She's talking the right stuff. It says his Malama, I can't pronounce it, I don't know what it is, in the comment section. She tagged everyone in Syria, so maybe, you know, maybe she is this, that, or the other. And they don't know that she's using that outfit maybe to conceal her body, not out of modesty for her husband. And since we can never really know her intentions, we can't assume one or the other. No one, intuition is bullshit as far as Chantal knows. No one knows anything about anyone behind closed doors. Fine. Yeah, all this stuff, she bought a whole ton of dumb shit that she just doesn't need. Like I said, if I was starting over, alone, with not a lot of resources, first of all, I wouldn't say boo to the people paying me, probably. I also would be, I think Chantal will be kind of remiss that there's people that won't spend all day online like she does. But her idea of working is being on social media all the time. But she's not networking, she's not doing stuff, she's bits and pieces of drama gossip that come through her range that she talks about. I don't know. So again, what looks like a Muslim woman may not necessarily be one. And just because it talks like one and barks like one and whatever, it doesn't mean it actually is. So, their relationship, private and behind the scenes. No one really knows what goes on between two people. No, but I can take a guess. Given his behavior outside of her, I can take a guess how satisfied he was with their intimacy. So, let's see. She said there's a sense of privacy with her and Shala. There's no private. It's on YouTube. We're inviting people in, but only this far. That as a boundary is good. That as Kamiran will tell you more, and then don't tell you anything. That's different. That's misleading. That's deliberate, too. It's, oh, God, I accidentally screwed you guys out of about $1,000, just as much as I needed for my rent. Isn't that a coincidence? God. So, anything else? She alleges she also got paid from YouTube. She alleges. She was not getting, as far as I know from other people who've been demonetized and maybe even gotten it back, something doesn't jive there. Something doesn't make sense. Because it's not how, I think it's not what she expected, and I think it's very possible it's a lie, just putting it out there to be like, hey, I could still support us, rather than, you know, she have to pull her paychecks from all these different places. But she says YouTube paid her, which, maybe she is a unicorn. Maybe she is, who knows? I don't know. Again, with the Only My Heart Knows, these are some of her favorite thought-stopping responses. So anyone who has a question about her relationship or lack of relationship with Sala, it comes to only we know. Only the two of us can know. So everyone else is just speculating and telling lies. Okay. Aside from the endless shopping, the appliances, the jazzy, couple other things that she needed. Aside from that, she was doing some more shopping on Amazon. So she has the grocery hauls, all the takeout, the shopping she did when she was out. Canceled her factor, canceled doctor's appointments, whatever. So where is she going? God only knows where she's going to be going into this next week. I think it's going to be a continuation of the dog whistles, like acting out. If it seems out of character for her to be, you know, impressive and demure and all that, you know, she may want to project that. But that's not how she really is. If Sala has been the only other person in the room with her before, he knows her dirt. He might not be the kind of guy that would do it, like she's the kind of woman who would. But he wouldn't humiliate her deliberately. She would deliberately humiliate him and say that he owes it to her or that they're even. I don't want someone that I'm kind of get even with. I want someone to love, you know? Like, the games are exciting to her, but she mistakes games with excitement. She mistakes manipulation with shows of affection. Nothing is ever what it's supposed to be. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but I don't know. So going forward, it'll be more of the same. she doesn't want to get herself kicked out from all her carrying on, so she might want to tone it down a little bit. It's only her in the apartment, so the fact that she's in there alone talking all day may make the neighbors go like this a little bit. So she'll continue to sit around. If she says she got YouTube paid, then she'll have more money coming, she says. But I don't know enough about the rates that you get from Kick versus TikTok versus that. TikTok is out of the picture right now. So is Patreon. That hasn't come back up again since that left. So she seems to like Kick. The YouTubers that we watch her, the content's being into a place where you can see it. I haven't had to join Kick to go see it. And 8 hours, you're going to have to pay me $30 an hour at least to painstakingly watch 8 hours of Chantal. I'm going to need $1 a minute. $1 a minute. And if you want any... I've worked for less. So, we are at the hour, folks. Thank you for joining me on this snowy day. I expect I'm going to go outside and I'm going to open the door and it's going to fall in because it's windy as hell. But thank you for indulging me and enjoying hanging out today. Mark is still moving kind of slow, so it's nice to have a project and some people to share it with. And it's always fun to spill a little gossip and hypothesize about what her real motives might be and what she's actually got going on at the moment. So I'm going to bounce. Thank you guys. Hit the thumbs up if you'd be so inclined, and feel free to subscribe as well. You hear that? The pinky says so. All our contact information is listed below as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. We do have memberships for $2.99 to be on the Smoky Deck. That includes member photos, some member lives, some more content with Mark, things like that. So if you're interested, don't hesitate to check it out there. Thank you all, and I will be in touch very soon. Mark will probably be in touch next, but I don't know when. We'll keep you posted, all right? Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.